Welcome to this week's episode of the Punk Popcast, where we're doing what we're calling Punk Covers Volume 1. Welcome to this week's episode of the Punk Popcast. Again, I'm your host, Brad, here with our other host, Jason. Welcome, Jason.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you doing tonight?
I'm living the dream.
Living the dream. Love it so much. All right, so again, like we said, we're going to be talking about punk covers. Jason and I, this is one that we really struggled with because there are a lot of not good, great covers out there. So what we had to do is we had to extend our field by one apiece. Instead of doing 6 songs like we normally do on a regular album, we're gonna do 4 apiece. 4 here. So buckle up. Let's get her started, Jason. I think I led off last. You're up.
Yeah, I'm up. Okay. Well then I'm gonna go with the one we were just talking about off air. I'm gonna lead off with Newfound Glory's cover of King of Wishful Thinking. And you're gonna hear me say this a lot tonight, and I'm so sorry to the listeners for being very redundant. The original song is fantastic, and the cover is just as good. Newfound Glory doing that with Patrick from Fall Out Boy, and I think Sherry Dupree, who was married to Chad from Newfound Glory at the time, is one of the background vocals, because there is a very audible female voice at one part. But it is a spectacular cover, and to me, it's the highlight off of From the Screen to Your Stereo Part 2.
It's awesome. Like I think Newfound Glory does an outstanding job with covers. I think before I had said that Hit or Miss was my very first exposure to Newfound Glory, but honestly, it might have been their Never Ending Story cover, which is outstanding and made me fall in love with them and covers. And then this is just like right on par with everything else that they do. I don't know that I've ever heard a bad cover by them, but this is a song that, like you said, the original is fantastic. It's really catchy, it's fun, but this version modernizes it to me, which is what covers are supposed to do. And for me, it actually makes it considerably more enjoyable for that reason. Because like I like 80s music, but there's a lot about it that I'm like, just like tweak it and it'd be better.
I love that late 80s, early 90s dance pop vibe that the original has. It's so jaunty. It makes you want to dance like Paul Rudd.
Jaunty. I think that's a term that's going to be used a lot tonight, honestly. Yeah, I liked it. That's a perfect way to describe it. But no, you brought it up just now, the music video that we were watching and discussing before. Tell us about it, Jason, for those who don't know.
So Jimmy Fallon and Paul Rudd went on this tear a few years ago where they remade shot for shot old videos, and they did one for King of Wishful Thinking as Go West, and it's hilarious but really well done. Like shot for shot, it is spot on to the real video.
Yeah, and it is so funny. Paul Rudd just cracks me up, kills me all the time anyway. But watching him, and honestly, I had a hard time recognizing him until there was like a close-up shot because the hair threw me off.
They had him look just like the singer.
Yes, he looked exactly like him. And it was absolutely perfect. I loved it. That's a solid choice. All right. For my first one, I'm going to go with one of my absolute favorite covers of all time. We're going to start strong. We're going to finish strong. Okay.
All right.
We're going to go with Beat It by Fall Out Boy. I grew up listening to Michael Jackson, especially.
As we all did.
Yes. Especially this album, is on Thriller. And I had a friend, actually, we would put the Thriller record on, like the vinyl, we'd put the record on their study. And he would like lip sync and play the air guitar, and I would sit and play the air drums and stuff. We would do that for hours. We would do Thriller and Beat It just over and over again for hours. I swear we wore that record out. But again, the Fall Out Boy version modernizes it and makes it so great, which I feel kind of blasphemous saying that about a Michael Jackson song. But at the same time, like, it kind of needs to be done given everything, right? And maybe needs a new identity. And I feel like this Fall Out Boy song does an outstanding job with it because it has that Fall Out Boy edge to it that Beat It didn't originally have, and made it a little bit harder and a little bit tougher than it originally was, just because it was Michael Jackson, right?
Right. I gotta say, like, normally I'm the lyric guy and I'm not the music guy. Um, so the guys who played on the original version of Beat It was
Hmm.
basically Toto.
Oh, really? I didn't know
It,
that.
okay, so fun fact: Toto plays on pretty much every big hit from like the late 70s through the mid 80s. They are
Wow.
like one of the best backing bands ever.
Huh.
Um, but so
Makes
everything
sense why the rains down in Africa is so good. These
oh,
guys just they breathe hits.
they do, and they play them. um, so everything up until the guitar solo is Steve Lukather from Toto. And then Eddie Van Halen has that amazing guitar solo,
Mhm.
which in the Fall Out Boy version,
John
John
Mayer.
Mayer does a phenomenal. John Mayer is a great guitarist, not known as a shredder, but he
That's what I was
shows
gonna
his
say. I didn't know he was
chops.
capable. I knew he was a capable guitar player, but I didn't know he was capable of this. And he tore it apart. The first
He
time I heard it,
did.
I was like, well, that's really out of character for Fall Out Boy. And then I saw it was John Mayer, and I was like, well, that's really out of character for John Mayer. You know? But yeah, he tore it up. You're exactly right. He did an awesome job with it. I
Yeah,
loved
he
it.
killed it. It's the video's ridiculous.
Oh, of course it is. It's a Fall Out Boy video. It's not Beat It. It's a Fall Out Boy video, and it is absolutely ridiculous, and it's hilarious,
But
just
see
like
now,
all their videos are.
if they did their video just like Beat It, like Travi or Brandon from um Panic at the Disco would have been one of the dudes like knife fighting.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Is Beat It the one? I can't remember. Is that the one where they do the lean and they come back, or is that bad?
No, the lean. Okay, where
Uh-huh.
Michael's in like the suit with the tie and the hat, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That is Smooth Criminal, and that song is
Smooth Criminal. That's right.
fantastic.
It is. It is. That is because that's another one we used to listen to in my friend's study. Yeah, I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember which video that was in because I saw them all around the same time, and so they all kind of blend together. But no, because I just imagine like in a Fall Out Boy video, them trying to do that and then just falling over just because it's hilarious. It's like, oh, everybody hits the ground.
They do have
But
funny videos, so
they do. Yeah. Yep, they do. All right, go ahead with your next one here, Jason, so we can get through these in a timely manner.
okay. So this one's really near and dear to me because I love the original band. I'm gonna go with the Metro, covered by Alkaline Trio, originally by Berlin. So little backstory. My mom was big into new wave.
Okay.
My mom looked straight up like a new wave kid when she was like before I existed. um, so Berlin was always like it was a band I knew, like Berlin, Adamant. Those are a lot of the bands like my mom listened to. So then Osmosis, I liked them.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
and the Metro's probably like one of the darkest songs Berlin did. So it makes a lot of sense that Alkaline Trio, who is definitely on the darker end of pop punk, would cover it. And they do
That's
a
exactly what I was gonna say.
spectacular cover.
They did. Yes, it is an outstanding cover. So you told me about this a few months ago. I think it was before we even recorded an episode, didn't right? When we
I
first were
think
just like
so, yeah.
conceiving the idea that you threw this at me, and I was kind of like, huh, never heard it. I wasn't familiar with it. And the first time through, I was like, okay. And then I listened to the Alkaline Trio version. I was like, oh yeah, that sounds like an Alkaline Trio song, right? Because then this week I went back and I listened. We put together a playlist. The link is down in the description. And I listened to this several times throughout the week. I was like, these lyrics belong to Alkaline Trio to begin with. Like, it's
Yeah.
where it belongs.
They do it's not a faithful cover because they're not a new wave band, but their interpretation of it is very faithful to the lyrics and the
Mhm.
atmosphere of the song itself.
Yeah. Yeah, it very much sounds like just a regular Alkaline Trio song. So much so that if I didn't know it was a cover, I wouldn't. There's no way I would have picked up on it. Never ever.
The only problem
But
is they don't have Terry Nunn, so
well,
who was
you
smoking back in the day.
know.
I'm so sorry. Just calling it as I see it, okay?
Hey, that's all we can ask of you, Jason. That's all we can ask. Very good. No, that is a solid song, solid cover though. I like that one. And I'm actually really glad you introduced me to that one because that was something like I said, I'd never heard before. It's very good. All right, my next one. We're gonna go to before break. We're gonna go into something that is very very poppy. Um, we're gonna go with "We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together" by From Lambs to Lions. So first off, I just have to say, um, confession time. I love me some T Swift. I have three guilty pleasure artists: Taylor Swift, Katy Perry, and Kesha. Actually, four, because Britney Spears is obviously the high level of all those. But I don't know how guilty of a pleasure guilty of a pleasure that is. But anyway, so I love me some T Swift. But this song to me was like you said jaunty earlier. Taylor Swift's version is very jaunty. It's very like we're never getting back together. Are you kidding me?
Like
Then you
ever.
call her. Then you what's that?
I said like ever.
Yeah, like ever, and then you call her in a week, like we'll get back together. We'll give it another try. That's what it feels like to me. But the way From Lambs to Lions did this was like never, ever, ever are we getting back together. The way they did it fit the lyrics so much better that I was really going back and forth on whether I should choose this song or not, just because um, like I said, there were so many others that I could have chose, but this one, the way that they did it was perfect for the lyrics. And like I said, I feel like the music fit it like so much better than the way Taylor Swift did it.
So I'm a big metalcore guy. I've
Okay,
professed my love of 18 Visions numerous times.
that's true.
Um, I loved the metalcore part. I was not expecting that, and it was such a little tasty little side dish in the song that it lifted it up for me a little bit.
Yes, it was awesome. Like I said, like the whole thing, the way they did it was just outstanding. I was really surprised by it. It caught me off guard, to be honest with you, when I was listening to whatever Punk Goes Pop or whatever it was that I was listening to. I can't even remember what album it was on, but yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. I think I listened to it twice through before I moved on to anything else, just because I wanted to make sure I was hearing what I was hearing. But
um, this was a spectacular pick. I definitely listened to it a few times, and I've definitely been singing the song all day, which has gotten me very odd looks from my wife because Tay Tay is not in my repertoire. Although I ain't gonna lie, "Waking Up in Vegas" by Katy Perry is, as the kids say, slaps. So
that song does slap. Oh my goodness. Katy Perry has so many good hits, but I like more confession time here about T Swift. The reason I'm like so into Taylor Swift is because when 1989 came out, like that whole album, like you said, slaps. It's really good, and I was starting my first sports blog at the time, and I would try to do as much. I was commuting on the metro on the train, and and so I was trying to do as much work on that blog as I could on the train so that I had because I had just like 45 minutes to myself and anything. But like there were times that I would really struggle with what I was working on, but I'd put Taylor Swift on. I'm like, yeah, she's my muse. Just like bust it out. It was perfect. But all right, there is two for me, two for Jason. Let's go take a quick break. When we get back, we have four more total.
The Another Sports Podcast is the home of sports talk for everyone. Every other week, you can catch David and Jason as they talk about all things sports, from current events to classic moments and everything in between. You can find the Another Sports Podcast on Anchor.fm, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, and more. Please don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review.
9+ Us presents the Baseball Together podcast with your hosts, Blackjack Brad and Kansas City Little Big Briggy Blue Eyes. Weekly episodes for the entire baseball family where we talk all baseball all the time. Available on all your favorite podcast apps and on YouTube. Come join our baseball family where we do baseball together.
Welcome back to the Punk Popcast, where we are talking about punk covers of, well, really, it's been pop songs for now. I mean, maybe next time we'll do something else. I don't know. Anyway, well, here we are. I have 2 left. Jason has 2 left. Jason, it is your turn. Hit us with your next one.
I guess I'm breaking that whole pop thing because I'm going with
It's
a
true.
grunge cover. Um,
You are.
I'm going with "Come Down" by Mayday Parade.
It was
Um,
kind of pop, though. Let's be real. That
One,
song
this
is
is my
grunge.
favorite Bush song.
Mine too. And I really like Bush.
I do too. Hi-yo. Anyway. All right. So anyway, "Come Down" is definitely my favorite Bush song. I mean, they have a lot of amazing songs, and I'm a fan of their stuff. So it was really cool when Punk Goes 90s came out. That Mayday Parade, one of my favorite pop punk bands, was doing a cover of one of my favorite grunge songs.
Yeah.
And I love that they were able, because they're a very high band for the most part. They're mellowing out as they're getting more mature as songwriters and musicians.
Mhm.
But this is really like the first preview of that to me as a fan of that change in them, because this is a darker song.
Mhm.
The lyrics definitely kind of have like a dealing with a drug abuse issue in it. And I think they knocked it out of the park. That opening bass line is tremendous. I like how in the song they made it their own by working in Derek playing piano into it.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Go
That's a
ahead.
nice touch. I like it. No, I was just agreeing with you. I like it when they do that, and I hadn't even like thought about that until just now. But like we put this song on in the car today. We picked. I think it was when we were just out, my wife and I were just out running errands. And I put this on because she wanted to hear some of the covers we are going to talk about. So I put this on, and like I said 3 times ago. But anyway, and she's like, God, I just love this song. And they did such a great job with it that they were able to like stay true to what the song was, the sound and the feel of it, while putting in their own touch, right? Putting in their own feel at the same time that it's like it felt like the come down song that I loved growing up, but it was also Mayday Parade, who I've come to love over the last couple weeks.
Right.
Like I was able to separate the two, but then also at the same time put them together because it felt like one of the same. I was going.
Yeah, they knocked it out of the park. And musically, it's tight, it's spot on.
Hmm.
Just a really good cover, and I hope people listening check this one out, because this isn't as known as some of the other covers on this list.
I agree. Yes, especially since that Punk Goes 90s album, I don't feel like it's one that was as well known as the Punk Goes Pop. I mean, there's 7 Punk Goes Pop. I think there's only 2 Punk Goes 90s. So I think that'll tell you there like how well those did. But this is definitely one of the top tracks on that album, and sometimes like when you hear a cover that's done really well, it's like, oh, it's because it was so close to the original that you can't tell the difference. But this one is really close to the original, like I said, but enough different that it's like, yeah, it's a true cover, and it's awesome.
Yeah,
It's really an
agreed.
awesome track. All right, I'm gonna go with another one that I feel like kind of has along those same lines. This is a song that I actually grew up liking, and it's "Take Me Home Tonight." This cover's by Every Avenue. The original is by Eddie Money. And this is a song, like I said, I grew up liking. It's a good song, the original is, but this version kills, absolutely kills, and just knocks the other one right out of the park, because Every Avenue did such an outstanding job with it that, like, after listening to this a few times, then going back and listening to the original, I was like, oh, well, shoot,
Okay, so
can't do it anymore.
so fun fact, pardon me, I do apologize about that. So fun fact, when Eddie Money was making this song originally,
Hmm.
Ronnie Spector, who does the "Be My Little Baby" part, right?
Okay.
She had been out of the music business for quite a few years by that point, probably not since like the early 70s. And she was a housewife. She was married, she had kids, she was doing the mom thing.
Hmm.
And Eddie called her up, asked her to sing on it, and it jump started a whole second era of her career
Well, that's
because
awesome.
she sang on this hit song. Um, had to throw that little tidbit in there because I'm a music nerd.
That's awesome. Well, and so there's a couple things with this song though. Like really, like growing up, obviously I didn't know artists really. Like I didn't know who Eddie Money was. But like, is it his kids or nephews or somebody who played in Escape the Fate?
I have no idea.
Because I know on that one album where they weren't like really a band, it's I think it's Ungrateful, where it was basically just the drummer was the only consistent piece to the entire album. If you look on it, there are like 3 or 4 guys with the last name Money, and I think Eddie Money might actually be on there. I'll have to look into that more, but and maybe we'll talk about it a little bit more when we get to Escape the Fate. But
Yeah,
I don't
because I'll
know.
have to do
That's
some
something I've always
research.
wondered because I haven't actually taken the time to research it, and I didn't think about it until just now. But anyway, no. So Take Me Home Tonight. This cover came out about the same time. At least that's when I was introduced to it, as when the movie came out, the Topher Grace and Anna Faris movie. And I was like so excited. I was like, oh my gosh, I love the song. I want to watch the movie. And the movie was good. It was entertaining, but at the same time, it felt a lot like um, super bad for somebody in their mid-20s. You know, but
It is a fun movie to watch. So one thing I want to touch on this song, because this is one of my favorite covers as well, and we talked about that texting the other day. There's a little like this song's very close to the original, and with the Mayday Parade song, there's enough differences that they make it their own. Maybe I'm the only one picking up on this, but like there's a vulnerability in how he sings it that that Eddie Money doesn't hit.
Yep. Yeah, I noticed that too. And I think that might be why I like this one so much more, like because the sound of it is different. And it's not just like the way that they play it, but yeah, that's what it is. I couldn't figure out what it is, but it is a vulnerability that he hits that Eddie Money doesn't. There's a different emotion to the way that he sings it. And Eddie Money, to me, the way he sings it is very, I don't want to say like structured, but it feels very calculated. And the Every Avenue version is more emotional.
I would say, just doing a quick dissection here, like the Eddie Money one might be more seductive for that time period, whereas this one's a little more, there's a little more longing to it.
Yeah, fits the genre. So
yeah, right.
Yeah, no, it's a great cover though. It is legitimately one of my favorites, and it's on Punk Goes Metal or Punk Goes Classic Rock.
Punk Goes Classic Rock.
Yeah, I think that's the one. Yeah, Punk Goes Classic Rock. So you can check it out if you want. It's also on the playlist. But anyway, go ahead, Jason. What's your last one?
Well, I hinted about this one on the Mayday Parade episode, so I have to go with it. Jason Lancaster's band after Mayday Parade was called Go Radio, and they did a cover of Rolling in the Deep by Adele.
It is strong. I'll just say that.
It is. Jason's vocals are fantastic on this. He knocks out of the park vocally. Musically, there's something I notice in the difference between Adele's Rolling in the Deep and Go Radio's Rolling in the Deep, and I think it's because they use electric guitar in their version. But that strumming beginning sounds a lot like Keep Your Hands to Yourself by Georgia Satellites. Go back and listen to that and tell me you don't want to start singing. There's a little change in my pocket going jingle-ling-a-ling after a bit.
I'll have to check it out.
And I never picked up on that until today, but I can't get it out of my head now.
That's awesome. I love
it. This might be parenthetical, the episode where Jason breaks Brad.
So many times.
I was really impressed with how well this song translated to the pop punk genre.
Well, I mean, you think about how emotional Adele is in her songwriting. It kind of fits, and it is one of her more upbeat songs. And like we've talked about this before, I'm not an Adele guy either. Like I get it, like I understand why other people do, but she's not my cup of tea, no pun intended. But this version is the way that Go Radio did this. That's when I was like, okay, yeah, I can get into that. And it's just my personal preference. It's nothing against anybody who is like gonna die on the Adele hill, whatever. But like for me, this is what spoke to me more, and I thought this was the perfect version of this song. It's perfectly done.
How good is that one chorus where it soars up and his vocals just they slaughter
They
on
do
that
kill.
that chorus.
It goes back to the big chorus.
It
You
does.
know,
It does.
that's one of the things that we love about the genre is the big chorus and the fact that they crush it on this song where Adele obviously slays, and they stepped up to the plate with it because this would anything Adele is going to be really hard to do, and the fact that they did so well is like really, I feel like it really says something.
Yes.
So, but that is a strong choice, Jason. I thought that was great when you put that one on the list. Okay, last one here. So I grew up, I have to say this, I grew up in our house listening to the Eagles like all the time. Like I could sing every word to Hell Freezes Over from start to finish in order, probably without the CD. Without like that was the first CD that was bought in our house when we bought our like entertainment center. Anyway, that being said, when I found out about Don Henley's solo career, when my dad bought the Boys of Summer album, I was like, oh, okay. And I fell in love with this song as a kid. Like, love the original, the Don Henley version of Boys of Summer. And then when I got into high school and I found the Atari's version, or as the Ataris, as we would call them. And we knew that, don't get me wrong, we knew that it was the Ataris, but we called them the Ataris just for fun. Kind of like less than Jacob, the Ataris. But anyways, but so this is the best cover I've ever heard of any genre of any in my life. I can listen to it forever and not get sick of it. Part of it is because I'm a huge baseball fan, and the Boys of Summer, baseball players, you know. But like this was like my theme song for a long time, and I like the Ataris, but I love this song. I love what they did with this song.
I will definitely die on the hill that this is the greatest pop punk cover.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
And we've said this about almost every song. They made it their own. When they switched out, I saw a Deadhead sticker on a Cadillac to I saw a Black Flag sticker on a Cadillac. That is fantastic. And I'm waiting for another band to cover it and have an Atari sticker on a Cadillac, because that would just
That'd be awesome.
Amazing. But
the problem with that is I don't know that anybody would ever be able to do that good of a job.
No, I don't think.
I think the bar is set so high on it that I don't know if anybody's ever going to touch it again. I mean, as far as in the genre, because I've heard a couple other covers that are just not great, but the fact that the Ataris did so well that I don't know that anybody else in the pop punk genre can do it again.
And this is something we didn't really talk about with any of these covers, is that the original artist signs off on giving the release of the song to be covered and released. And I think it's pretty cool that Don Henley was like, yeah, have at it.
Yeah.
And these
like,
guys,
what kind of like,
it.
Well, they didn't murder it. They did kill it, but they didn't murder it.
Well, you knew what I meant.
But what kind of a like endorsement is that? One of the lead singers for the Eagles is like, yeah, do my song, do my solo song. Like that's a big deal. And it had to have been a big deal for the Ataris. I saw them live was probably about 5 years ago now. Yeah, it was about 5 years ago. I saw them live with Mest, and they played this song, and legit, Jason, like my arms were just like the hairs on my arms were stuck straight up. I had goosebumps all the way down my arms and legs. I couldn't even like dance to the music. I was just singing, and I was like, this is like the best way to ever hear this song. Like there is no other way to listen to the song besides live, because the way that they play it is so outstanding that I just like it blew my mind. It's amazing.
This song takes me back to the summer it came out, because I was 18 the summer it came out, and like it was kind of like a theme song for that summer.
I bet.
I mean, the Don Henley song gives different emotions for me, but the Ataris one will always put me in summer 2003, no matter when I hear it. And we'll be in David's Corsica doing 85 through a very wooded road with deer crossing, just talking about life. Like it puts me right there. And for those listening, I'm sorry, David is my co-host on my None Other Sports podcast. So I'm sorry for throwing his name out there. No one has any idea who he is.
So nonchalant about it, Jason.
I know.
I knew who you were talking about, but anyway.
I know you did.
Yeah,
But
no, really though. I mean, it's the same thing. You know, we put this song over and over again. It was on repeat. It was in the regular mix of summer music in the summer 2003, and it's a perfect summer song, especially when you can just put the windows down. Because where I grew up, if it was 95, it was a hot day. You know, so we spent most of our time 85 to 90 with the windows down, and it was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. So, yes, and like I said, one of the greatest covers, to me, the greatest cover I've ever heard. It's not going to get any better than this, but we're going to come back next season and give you volume 2, and we'll find 8 more outstanding covers for you. But for now, let us know what you think about this selection. If there are some that you want us to talk about, reach out to us on Twitter at Punk Popcast. You can get us there, or you can get me at Jojo Cornrow and Jason at
Jason Dag X.
Like I said, let us know if there are some covers that you'd like us to listen to. I'm always open to them. I listen to punk pop covers like all the time. The Punk Goes Pop albums are in my regular rotation because I love them so much. So let us know what you think. Let us know what you think about this selection, and we'll get back with you next week.